Well, shaking folks, back with another reaction, back with some more Thompson Twins. And once again, shout out to Philip for stepping in and providing the larger Thompson Twins catalog after I had gotten to the end of what was available at that point. And I was looking through, I didn't even realize that the last track I reacted to was an early working version of a tune on the album, and having realized that, or having had that explained to me, I looked through the remaining bonus tunes. It looks like most of them are like that. It looks like most of them are early working versions of tracks that were eventually on Here's to Future Days. So I figured we'll go ahead to the next album, and at some point we can swing back and hit more of the demo versions of some of the tracks, the remix or alternative versions. So we're going to move forward to the next album, which is Close to the Bone, 1987. Close to the bone, the expression that, something, it hits a little too close to home, it's a little bit, too biting because, it's too familiar. So I do wonder if that might play into multiple tracks on the album. Either way, the opening tune is Follow Your Heart. The idea that sometimes you get a feeling about something and you could complicate things by overthinking, you could let your rational brain get in the way of a passionate emotional experience, and even if there are things that maybe don't make sense logically in regard to the situation, you only live once, and ultimately maybe sometimes listening to your heart, so to speak, which, as I always point out, we really are talking about your brain. And that's not to denigrate, millennia of metaphorical expression about emotion as seen through the heart, but ultimately, your heart pumps and regulates blood, so all that feeling, all that passion, all that subtle emotion, it does come actually from your brain, even if you feel it throughout your body and indeed in your chest where your heart resides. So I'll stop talking nonsense, but I am curious, what it's prescriptive, it's, a suggestion, a request, a command, an encouraging entreaty. Either way, I wonder what this normative prescription will relate to, and if we'll be in the realm of romance and intimacy, which would be my inclination. But as a group that has sung about relationships that are tattered and torn, I won't imagine that it would be simple, even if that is the terrain we'll be working in. So let's listen. This is Thompson Twins from their album Close to the Bone, 1987. It's the opening tune, and it's Follow Your Heart. Maybe? Is it? Okay. I always want to make sure the sound levels are acceptable, and when something starts super quiet, smooth, a bit of a nighttime feel. That's all three of them are on this one, vocally. It's, do you take the risk or not? As a historian, someone who thinks about branch points, ooh, you gotta. I love, I've heard a number of tunes in recent months that seem to do that. They seem like maybe they're breaking down, maybe heading toward a fade out or a sort of steep ending, and then they re-flourish with the full configuration, all the elements, and then immediately start fading. It's like they're just saying, like, we could go another round, but we are going to leave it with that sort of vibe. But yeah, I like it a lot. I was wondering, we're moving into the second half, the later 80s, and obviously things in the later 80s, it's not going to sound like 83. There's going to be some differences as styles, not just within a group, but entire genres and, what other labels are doing and so on. So I wondered, what we'd hear on this opening tune, but not only did I like it a lot, not only do we get, all that percussion, which I've come to know. Again, Alana Curry is like crazy, like the rhythms and the particular percussive sounds that express the rhythms. I'm just always fascinated when I listen to their tunes. So yeah, but it just had that vintage 80s feel. It's not a tune I've ever heard before, but not only do now, I think very quickly pick out that that's a Thompson Twins tune if you played it for me blind, so to speak. But it just feels like, it should be in an 80s movie. It should be in a like montage scene from like a classic 80s film. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the seriousness of some moments. It had like a heavy emotional feel, and some like tonal shift moments that like really hit the spot. And yeah, it sounds like we're talking about, you could sometimes play it safe, or you could maybe go for it, you could follow your heart, and if you do play it safe and you don't go for it, will you look back and wonder what your life could have been? Will you regret, And I was thinking, sometimes you don't get a whole lot of time, or even necessarily the context or understanding that it is one of those branch points, and that's, the nature of being a subjective, individual biological agent that doesn't always have perfect information, that sometimes acts emotionally and not always logically. And while that can be a good thing, and the idea of following your heart, sometimes it can be counterproductive to what ultimately would be better for you and or whatever relationship is at hand. So yeah, sometimes in life you don't get a lot of time to consider, wow, does this make sense? Or is this emotion I have, is it just infatuation that maybe, once that burns away, maybe I'll regret following this situation because, it was hot, it was fun, but maybe it's not the greatest thing. So you don't always get a lot of time to think, you don't always realize in the moment, it's like maybe your lack of enthusiasm makes the other person, maybe this isn't the right match, and, maybe and it's like, oh wait, I did want that, but I didn't know. So like, the nature of human relations and the emotional experience, the emotional struggle of being, an adult in that world, I think can be a very complicated situation where you are dealing with risk and probability, and even if you're not breaking it down mathematically, you are aware that like once you commit to one way, you can't go back, and you might end up wondering, should I have done that differently? So again, on a conceptual level, I support it, follow your heart, but I do also understand that like, you don't always know what that necessarily is until it's too late sometimes. So in any case, a cool tune, ultimately, I'm looking forward to the rest. Do let me know what you think. And ultimately, once again, shout out to Philip, who, once I was starting to go through the Nothing in Common, like, soundtrack 12-inch, I was like, I don't know where we go next. And immediately stepped in, as he has done in a number of regards, including Belinda Carlisle. And I'm meaning to get back to Go-Go's. Not that that's relevant here, but this is the way my brain works, so... hopefully we'll get to the end of the Go-Go's album soon and get on to Belinda. But yes, more Thompson Twins soon, more from Close to the Bone. So let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.